haven't done these in a while, so been giving it some thought, and let me see if I can piece this together. So, jobs, career, it's all, part of it is, if you have more education, you're more likely to get a good job, but there's no guarantees. And part of it also has to do with timing. So what happened was, when I went to my alma mater, I noticed that they have one full-time faculty who is just constantly out sick. And then the other faculty, it was interesting because they actually taught two different kinds of classes. So they taught one class part-time, they taught the other class part-time, and for some reason, I guess they made some sort of a deal. They said, okay, with these two part-time teaching gigs, we'll make it one full-time job and you get full benefits. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I go back? Because at that time I already had my bachelor's degree. So I thought, why don't I just go back, get my master's degree, come back, and hopefully by then they will have a legit full-time faculty position open, so I can go in there, and that's it, because one of my parents used to be a teacher before they moved to Latin America, and I wanted, I want to make this right, make it a career, don't leave the area, I can make this work. So I went back to school, did whatever I had to do to get into a graduate program. Got in there, and we had another family emergency. So instead of taking 2 years to graduate, it took me like a few years. Won't mention how many years. And then I went back to my hometown. I said, you know what? Are you looking for a teacher? They said, yes. It's part-time. I said, no problem, because the way to do this is to get your foot in the door. And then when I walked in my first day, oh no. I mean, they made the right decision because she's still there. They already have a full-time Asian American faculty person. And I know some of you are like, well, they're in San Francisco. Obviously, there's a lot of Asians there. But the part of Northern America I live in, Northern California I live in, is conservative. Well, actually, traditional. So, they already have their air quotes token Asian American faculty person. I'm not going to get in. And I know some of you are like, no, wait, you said you're Latin American Japanese. Well, the way things work up here, because San Francisco, we have a small but significant Japanese Peruvian population. They cannot call themselves Japanese American because their grandparents, great uncles, great aunts, great grandparents, they were not here during the Second World War, so they do not have any legal right to call themselves Japanese American. Of course, you're like, well, why don't you just call yourself Latino? There's two problems with that. First of all, they have an Asian face. They're not going to be accepted. Second of all, when my family came to this country, I was just 3.5 years old. So my parents, all my paperwork, I'm listed as Asian. So that's not, I cannot technically call myself Latina because of all that. I would have to actually hire a lawyer and get all of my paperwork legally changed. And that's not going to happen. So, plus, the candidate that they chose to be the permanent faculty person, after that sick person abandoned their position, she has a PhD. So, me, master's degree, no comment. There's no support on my part. So that was a missed opportunity on my part. So I went to tape agencies, and then finally, I got a position, not at a college, but at a university, of all places. So I went there, they said, you know what we do here And I appreciate the fact that they were upfront. But we do here, you start as temporary. We test you out. We like you. We'll give you a permanent job. I'm like, sure, no problem. I can do temporary. So I did that for a couple of years. And then recession happened. And I do appreciate the fact that they were upfront. Hey, we're going to try our best to keep everybody employed. But if we have to lay people off, we're going to lay off first we're going to lay off the temporary workers. We're going to start with the ones who were last hired and go on down the line. And sure enough, I was like the last hired. So I was laid off again. Shucks. But the thing was, right after I was told I was laid off, a person from another department told me, oh my God, I wish I knew. I was like, what's going on here? He said, off the record, I was planning to start my own department. I already have, the okay from the bigwigs upstairs. And I was going to hire you to be my staff person. Dang it. And, obviously, it's going to take several years for them to pull this together because of the recession. It's not going to happen anytime soon. I'm like, if I apply for this job several years later, I would have gotten the permanent job by now. So it's like, everything is just so timing. Plus, I'm like, oh man, plus no PhD, and I still don't have a PhD. Because, again, another recession. So it's like, it's tough. So getting the right job isn't just getting the education. You also have to get a PhD, apparently, here in California, which makes sense. There's so many people with a PhD, they are applying for jobs left and right. And even today, they're applying for jobs left and right. So they get priority because they got the education. Where some of these masters are like, sounds iffy. I'm not really sure how serious you are about working, since you didn't go all the way to the PhD level. So yeah. But yeah, that first job, I'm like, that was perfect because the faculty member is just out sick constantly. And, the other faculty member is only teaching that subject part-time. And I thought, I'll just see a master's degree and I'll get it. And I come back, they already hired their token Asian American faculty members. So they already met their quota. They don't need to hire 2 Asian faculty members. So, tough. And then, my current job, my most recent job. It was an independently owned and operated agency where we do our job based on what the local economy wants, which is perfect. But when corporate took over, corporate's like, no, you treat every company the same. You do things our way. And with corporate restructuring, my job was the first to get let go. So, yeah, it's timing, and you stick with a company that may or may not be bought up by a corporation, and then you get the boot. Yeah, unfortunate. So hopefully, sometime soon, I can get the right job, the right career. Because, I'm definitely not giving up hope. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I shall see you next time. Take care.